Welcome back to Tech Stack for all you tech enthusiasts. Now we cover Bootstrap in React. Bootstrap is a CSS framework. It helps us design responsive and modern websites. It gives us ready-made classes for styling. We use it to create layouts, buttons, forms, and many UI components quickly. In React, we use Bootstrap classes inside our components. It saves time and makes our UI look clean and professional. Now go to your browser. Type React Bootstrap. Open the first link. This is the official React Bootstrap website. Now click on Get Started. This will open the installation guide. Here we see how to add React Bootstrap to our project. Now copy this installation command. This command installs React Bootstrap and Bootstrap. It adds both packages to our project. Now open the package.json file. After installation, React Bootstrap and Bootstrap appear in this list. Here we can see Bootstrap is installed. Bootstrap version 5.3.8 is added. This confirms that Bootstrap is successfully installed in our project. Here we can see React Bootstrap is installed. React Bootstrap version 2.10.10 is added. This confirms that React Bootstrap is successfully installed. Now let's create a new component Bootstrap demo. This component will be used to test Bootstrap in our project. We start by writing the component function. This is the beginning of our Bootstrap demo component. Next, we add a return statement. This is where we will put our JSX for the component. Finally, we export the component. Export default Bootstrap demo. This makes our Bootstrap demo component available to use in other files. Now open app.jsx. We import the Bootstrap demo component. This allows us to use Bootstrap demo inside our main app component. Now we add the component in JSX with a self-closing tag. This renders our Bootstrap demo component inside the app. Now let's run the command. npm run dev. This starts our React development server. We can see our app running in the browser. It is on localhost 5173. Let's open it in the browser. Now let's open the React Bootstrap website. Scroll down to the bottom of the page. Copy the CSS file link. We can import it in our project. The documentation suggests using index.js or app.js. Since we don't have index.js, we will use app.jsx. Now paste the import statement in app.jsx. This applies Bootstrap styles to our React app. Now open the Bootstrap demo component. We will start adding Bootstrap elements here. Now open the React Bootstrap website. Here we can explore all the available components. Now open the Alerts section on the React Bootstrap website. Copy the import statement. Now open the Bootstrap demo component. Paste the copied import statement at the top. This lets us use the alert component inside Bootstrap demo. Now open the React Bootstrap website. Copy the alert example code. Now open the Bootstrap demo component. Paste the copied alert code inside the return statement. This will render multiple alert components with different variants. Now let's test it in the browser. As you can see, beautiful alerts appear with different colors. We use the variant property to set the color of each alert. Now let's remove the alert code. We will try other Bootstrap elements. Delete the alert JSX from the return statement. We are ready to explore more components. Now let's open the buttons section on the React Bootstrap website. Here we can see different button examples. We will use one of them in our project. Now copy the button import statement. We will use it in our component. This allows us to use the button component in our project. Now copy the code for the primary button. We will use this example in our component. This button uses the primary variant style. Now let's test it in the browser. Perfect. You can see the primary Bootstrap button displayed. Now let's create another button. This time we use the danger variant. This will display a red Bootstrap button. Now let's test it in the browser. You can see the danger Bootstrap button displayed. This shows how we can change the button style using the variant property. Now let's add an info button. Set the variant to info. This will display a light blue Bootstrap button. Now let's test it in the browser. You can see the info Bootstrap button displayed. Now we will try Bootstrap badges. Badges are small count or label elements. Now copy the import statement for badge. We will use it in our Bootstrap demo component. Now copy the code for the secondary badge. We will use it in our Bootstrap demo component. This creates a badge with the BG secondary style. Now let's test it in the browser. You can see the secondary Bootstrap badge displayed. Now let's add a primary badge. Set BG to primary. This will display a blue Bootstrap badge. Now let's test it in the browser. You can see the primary Bootstrap badge displayed. It shows the text with a blue background. Set BG to info. This will display a light blue Bootstrap badge. Now let's test it in the browser. You can see the info Bootstrap badge displayed. It shows the text with a light blue background. Now let's copy another Bootstrap element. We will explore more components in our Bootstrap demo. Now let's open the card section on the React Bootstrap website. Here we can see different card examples and layouts. Now copy the import statement for card. We will use it in our Bootstrap demo component. This allows us to add card elements in our project. Now copy the complete code for a card. We will use this example in our Bootstrap demo component. This card includes a title, text, a button, and an image. Now let's test it in the browser. You can see the beautiful Bootstrap card. The image is not showing as we did not provide a path. Now let's implement another component. We will try the button group. Button group lets us group multiple buttons together in a row. Now copy the import statement for button group. We will use it in our Bootstrap demo component. This allows us to create grouped buttons in our project. Now copy the code for the buttons inside the button group. We will add multiple buttons in a row using this example. This will display a horizontal group of Bootstrap buttons. Now let's test it in the browser. You can see the Bootstrap button group displayed. All the buttons are aligned together in a row. Now set the middle button's variant to info. Now set the right button's variant to primary. Now let's test it in the browser. You can see the button group now. The first button is secondary. The middle button is info. The right button is primary. Now we will implement a modal. Modal is a pop-up window that appears on top of the page. Now copy the import statements for the modal. We will use them in our Bootstrap demo component. This allows us to create and control a Bootstrap modal in React. Now copy the example code for the modal. We will add this code inside our Bootstrap demo component. This code includes a button to open the modal and the modal content itself. Now let's test the modal in the browser. You can see the Bootstrap modal displayed. Now let's implement an accordion. Accordion lets us show and hide content in collapsible sections. Now copy the import statements for accordion. We will use them in our Bootstrap demo component. This allows us to create collapsible accordion sections in React. Now copy the example code for the accordion. We will add this code inside our Bootstrap demo component. This code includes multiple collapsible items with headers and content. Now let's test the accordion in the browser. As you can see, the accordion works perfectly. Clicking the headers expands and collapses the content smoothly. If you're passionate about learning new technologies, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tech Stack, and keep learning new skills. Thank you. And remember, consistency is the key to success.